Hello there, thanks for joining us on Enterprise TV. Welcome to The Middlemen. It's a show that discusses and dissects current issues affecting Nigeria's everyday life, from the economics to politics, infrastructure, and everything in between. Beginning first, I welcome our juror from Rabbi, who will be discussing his case titled The Theory of the Dead Horse, which suggests that when faced with a failing strategy, people often respond with ineffective actions instead of acknowledging a need for change. Also on the show today, we have Juror Jumoke James and her case titled Natasha'S Petition, Dead on Arrival, which discusses the injustice and limitations surrounding women in politics. And I, Juror Innocent will be presenting my case titled Much Ado About 2025 Ramadan and School Closure, which delves into how unfair it was, the order for the closure of schools in some northern states over the recent Ramadan. All of this we will be serving you deliciously right after this break. Please stay with us.
Middleman. Welcome back to the Middlemen of Jurors. My case, the theory of the dead horse. The dead horse theory is a satirical metaphor that illustrates how individuals, institutions, or nations handle various or obvious unsolvable problems. Now, instead of accepting the reality, they cling to justifying their actions. The core idea is simple. If you realize that you are riding a dead horse, the most sensible thing to do is to dismount and move on. However, in practice, the opposite often happens. Instead of abandoning the dead horse, people take action such as this: buying a new saddle for the horse, improving the horse diet despite it being dead, changing the rider instead of addressing the real problem, firing the horse caretaker and hiring someone new, hoping for a different outcome, holding meetings to discuss ways to increase the dead horse speed, creating committees or task force to analyze the dead horse problem from every angle. This group work for months, compile reports, and ultimately conclude the obvious: the horse is dead. Justifying efforts by comparing the dead horse with similar dead horses, including that the issue was lack of training. Proposing training program for the horse, which means increase of budget. Defining the concept of the dead horse to convince themselves the horse still has potential. Now my verdict. This theory highlights how many people, organization, or nation prefer to deny the reality, wasting time, resources, and effort on ineffective solutions instead of acknowledging the problem from the start and making smarter and more effective decision. Now, this theory seeks at the extended meaning of the Nigerian case, where the economy, leadership are in comatose, completely dead. But alas, we think that budgeting more money for INEC to conduct election is the way out, or that removing subsidy is the way out, or sacrificing the dead horse, which actually represents the people, for the economy or the people or politics. This is a serious issue that we must dissect. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, Rabbi. The Spirit of God has come upon you. Nigerians love to bury our heads in the sand like ostriches, right? Because our political class, right, our leaders, they didn't fall from heaven. They are not from Ghana nor Togo or Cameroon. They are Nigerians. It's the culture that we inculcate as a people, as followers, is what the leaders will exude. So the horse is dead. Just dismantle. Dismount and start going your way looking for goats.
Or donkey.
Or camel. Or just use your Legady's Benz. But you will set up committee.
In fact.
That will collect bribe. Then you now set up another committee to come and probe that committee that collected bribe until another dispensation. We keep going around in circles.
All the committees will be around the drawing board.
Everybody chopping at their own level.
And so a clear example of the dead horse is the refineries. The Port Harcourt refinery, the Warri refinery, the Kaduna refinery, and the rest of them. How many times have we done turnaround maintenance on it from 2012?
Every year. Every year.
Okay, even when Dangote came on with the refinery, NNPCL, which is also another dead horse.
More
money was spent into NNPCL, was put into NNPCL than you have in Dangote refinery that's now functional. The same NNPCL is still comatose to date. So if NNPCL is dead, why can't you discard it and do away with it and focus on those other persons who have gotten license to operate refineries but have not been able to start up? Why can't the government fund them? Okay, or give them soft loan to come alive? So most of the government parastatals and projects are dead horses.
Well, it's called for sober reflection. Because when you mention dead horses, as if something truly died and we need to mourn. Imagine the point you raised about drawing budget for something dead.
Yeah.
Making appointments for something dead. And because
setting up committees,
a figure of speech, we will just laugh.
And then move on.
And look at textile industries we used to have in our glory days. You look at I was in Ibadan the other day, and that cocoa house, it's a big advert of one big bottle of beer that's on it now. And then I saw a graffiti in a newspaper with that saying, is it cocoa house? So do we still have the soil on which cocoa were farmed? Yes. Are cocoa still on those land? No. And that's another dead horse on its own. There are more we'll be uncovering.
Nigeria is a dead horse.
The whole Nigeria.
The country is a dead horse. Is it a monarchy, a democracy, or oligarchy? What are we really practicing? Look at what's happening at the floor of the Senate with somebody who alleges that she was harassed. He has now become the victim.
We'll get there.
Look at President Tinubu. First year in office, right? We were hearing what they call that, when you have a supplementary budget.
Okay.
And then what was it used for? Buying vehicles, yachts, private jets, all sorts of funny things. The country itself is a dead horse. Because when we were amalgamated in 1914, the colonialists put us together in a way that we would never agree. Politically, culturally, religiously, we are at war against ourselves. But rather than go back and discuss the foundation of the country, are we working? We keep on setting up committees and doing election every 4 years. Bringing in people who seem to have the solutions. They create more problems. Every subsequent government in Nigeria since 1999 has been worse than the previous one.
Okay, so
the Nigerian Constitution is the dead horse. It is upon the
that foundation.
The lack of workability of that Constitution is why you are screaming so. You are screaming so loud because there's a document that have convoluted the democracy we are talking about. And then democracy cannot function under that kind of document. There, every year, every assembly, now the 10th assembly, they are talking about amendment. They will compare report, they will spend money,
every assembly through.
They will discuss that same constitution
for 4 years.
Months. They will call us for public hearing. We will go and spend money on a dead horse.
Jesus.
At the end of the day, we'll come back and we'll start to cry again.
Let's just first of all annul Nigeria and start again.
I think even elections seems to be dead.
That sounds like the solution.
Yes, even elections is what Nigeria now uses as validation to the outside world that we are not dead. Once it is 4 years, you go for it. Meanwhile, the INEC itself is
a dead horse. You know that democracy is popular all over the world. The Western civilization have convinced the world that having the freedom to choose your leaders
every 4 years
is freedom. For some countries it's 5 years. I think Ghana, they have their election cycle in 5 years.
France 7.
So because it is popular around the world, even Nigerians that it is foreign to, because we are kabiosi, monarchy is the way we know here, which is why nobody questions your president or your senate president or whoever is in leadership. The governors, they are dictators in their own states. Nobody questions them. Remember when Ganduje was shown in 5 subsequent videos talking dollars into his cap? What did the Kano State House of Assembly do immediately after? Because the person releasing the video said they were 15. By number 5, they met and gave an order to stop the airing of those videos. We never saw the remaining 10. If it's not a monarchy, shouldn't you, as a State House of Assembly, first of all, say, this is grounds for impeachment, or ask the governor to step aside? So there's so many cases that we can bring up in Nigeria's there
are so many dead horses
to prove that Nigeria is a dead horse on itself. In this our republic, is it the 4th or 5th republic that we're in right now? There are so many cases that we can prove from 1999 to show that Nigeria itself, we need to just annul the country and start all over again. If Nigeria as a contraption is not working, why do we keep riding on that horse?
Well,
the proposal for the state creation is also a dead horse issue. Because if a horse is dead, why do you have to create more issues around it?
Why do you want to feed it Viagra for it to have a child?
After death is burial.
Yes,
okay,
now.
Burial and following. So why are you
trying to make it procreate?
To create more states under a dead situation. So when we return, Juror Innocent Aduluba will be discussing much ado about Ramadan and the closure of school. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Middlemen, still on Enterprise TV. My case, much ado about 2025 Ramadan and school closure. Now the governors of Katsina, Kebbi, Bauchi and Kano states have closed public and private schools for the 1 month period of Ramadan, spanning 5 weeks anyway. In the media, the case is up and various voices are asking, is this fair to Muslim students as well as Christian students and Christian-owned schools as well? Anyway, the closure raises serious questions about the secular nature of our country, Nigeria, and the rights of all citizens in the states where they reside, according to Initiative for Research, Innovation and Advocacy in Development, IRIAD. Approximately 18.3 million children remain out of school as of late 2024, making Nigeria the country with the highest number of out-of-school children globally. In all of these states, Governor Dikko Rada of Katsina State is well educated to a PhD level in agriculture and rural sociology. Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State holds a PhD in education. The governor of Sokoto State, Ahmad Aliyu, also holds a doctorate in business administration. And Dauda Lawal from Zamfara State is a 1992 master's degree holder in political science and international relations, while Governor Gauna Yusuf of Kano holds a bachelor's degree in biochemistry. With all of these, their academic credentials, how did they agree to close school? How did the North, with governors this educated, end up with strange, obnoxious, nasty, and distasteful directives that shut schools for Ramadan? Now, how did the North get here, and how will the region ever get out of this cesspit of affliction? According to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara have the lowest literacy rates. Not surprising is that these states are also among the 10 states with the highest poverty rates in Nigeria. Katsina, Kebbi, Bauchi, and Kano states are among those with the highest percentage of out-of-school children. Kano alone boasts 39%, way above national average of 28.7%. The Nigerian Constitution, along with various international treaties to which Nigeria is a signatory, guarantees the right to education for all citizens. The decision to close schools during Ramadan violates these principles and sets a dangerous precedent that prioritizes religious observances over the educational rights of students. My verdict. Some analysts say President Tinubu, Attorney General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Education Minister, President of the Nigerian Governors Forum, and the National Assembly are tacitly in support of the closure of schools in some of the northern states based on their silence so far. My case is rested here.
When President Tinubu puts forward a candidacy that was Muslim in 2023, some people had fears. Some of us were saying, are they going to force us to go and become Muslims? What we see is the result of some of those fears right now.
Okay.
That if you had a Christian vice president, would he also be quiet while you're closing school for 30 days? There are three issues in this case for me. One, we're holier than the Pope, if I say it like that. We say that we're a secular state, but we really aren't. Every meeting, gathering, conference, or whatever it is that we have, we will open with prayers. If we're truly secular, your religion should be personal. Pray in your bedroom, pray in your heart. It shouldn't be something that we do officially. But we're very religious on the surface, yet we are the poverty capital of the world, and corruption thrives here.
Insecurity.
Now, look at governors who themselves have doctorate degrees, bachelor degrees, masters, closing schools for 30 days. Saudi Arabia has not closed schools.
Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world.
If you wanted to close schools, there are, the summer vacations and things like that. Maybe you'd reorganize the educational calendar to fall so that your long vacation falls within your Ramadan, But I've been to Dubai, right? The only reason they would shut down during the day is, it is hottest between 12 noon and 4 o'clock. Everybody go for a nap. Shops, schools, everybody shuts down. Go and sleep. Then come back in the evening when the sun has gone down. Even at that, everywhere you go to, including bus stops, there are air conditioners there because of their hot, country. So rather than look at Nigeria, what's our problem? In 2023, we had 20.5 million children out of school between the age of 6 and 14, right? So now we have reduced it to 18.3 by the end of 2024 from your case.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than build on that, which is, what's our problem? If our children are out of school, what's the future of the country? No, we are shutting down schools. Long vacation is 3 months shut down. You will now use Ramadan to shut down for another 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
So that your children will end up on the street. So now after Ramadan, you go and call them from the street and say, come back, schools have resumed.
It's appalling.
We're a contraction that is obviously dead on arrival.
we must be serious with the idea that we must separate the state from religion. Okay, these are theories that were canvassed in the early times with most of the greatest philosophers, that there is a need for us to separate religion from the state, because now you are closing school because of Ramadan. What is exactly is it the first Ramadan that we're having, this particular one?
Fact.
In the previous ones, did they close down schools?
Were the children fainting in class?
The fact is that I don't even think children should be forced into fasting. I mean, because these things should be
compulsory.
Should be voluntary. I do not think that, apart from the fact that religion is personal, okay, activities within the religion is also voluntary. Should be voluntary. Okay, whoever wants to partake should partake. Whoever don't want to should stay away from. So when you now shut down school because you have, it means that the leaders don't even understand the effect of education. Okay, we give more credence to religion than education, which is unfortunate.
Very, very.
Little wonder we're not developing at all. Okay, because instead of us to invest in the minds of these children, okay, expose them to technology, STEM, science, okay, where the world is going to, the world is actually going somewhere, okay, we should train them to be able to catch up. But then we're talking about shutting down the whole school just because people are fasting. I mean, religion, imported religion, that have no roots in our tradition, in our culture, and the rest of that. And then when you do that, the children are the victim, because it is these adults that are the one frustrating children. Okay, now you are tying them around what you know. Those religions that was introduced to you in the days of old, they have all expired. They have expired because they are not, they are not catering for the future. They are not driven to determine the growth of humanity in the future, in the nearest future. No.
Very true.
Okay, so we should do away with all those practices and allow the children to go to school. Because a term is 13 weeks, for example. When you take away 5 weeks from 13 weeks, what do you have left? Okay, so you distort the entire calendar and the rest of that. So I don't think this is right at all. This is very, very
But
wrong.
again, what happens to Christians in those states?
Well, like he asked, is this our first Ramadan? If hundreds of Ramadans have gone well, what is unique with this? And that's where people are saying that because by now we've heard nothing from the education minister, we've heard nothing from the attorney general. The sections of governors have taken an action that is not popular. The governors forum have a head. No comment from them. The president, commander-in-chief, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, no comment on this. The National Assembly, the highest lawmaking body, where some of these children's representatives are. We've not heard from the reps representing them. So I think the dead horse case flows into this, and it tells us that, like he said, yes, a lot of laws emanate from religion, but I think it's time we need to separate law from religion, because religion continually blurs the sentimental aspects the law possessed, as it were.
I have a question. It's not a question, it's a statement. It's sort of a question that except the governors know something that they're not telling us. For instance, security reasons. Why do I mention that? On the 14th of April 2014, when the Chibok girls were abducted, right? We all criticized, the governor for not listening, to advise, to have shut down schools.
At that time.
They wanted to write WAEC in Bauchi, and they said, security reports said, look, it is dangerous. Boko Haram is lurking around. Move them to safer states to go and write their WAEC. The governor didn't listen. So we blamed him at that point. Now, if he had intelligence, right, that he could work with, that listen, we do not have the capacity to recover, because prior to that, 70 boys were killed in a secondary school in Yobe, same 2014. So we have been having dastardly terrorism attacks before the Chibok abductions. If he,
they were slaughtered in their dreams.
I'm telling you, I cannot forget that case. Now, if the governor had intelligence, you know, because I mean, if your primary role as a governor is to secure your citizens, and you have intelligence that says that the state will not be secure for, so I'm citing that example to say these governors that have shut down schools, do they have an intelligence report that they cannot tell us about, that we may now hear later, that will make us feel okay, they did the right thing? Because they didn't shut down during Ramadan last year, and all the 100 previous Ramadans, you citing your example. What is peculiar about the 2025 Ramadan?
Well, it's in the media. Murik has said that Khan should stop talking about an issue that they know nothing about. A Christian Association of Nigeria, they are the most vocal voice. That this is a Muslim issue, that they shouldn't intervene. The National Association of Nigerian Students are also warming up. They are giving ultimatum to go on
JUROR Innocent
demonstration for
Please,
this.
Religion or not, these children have a right under Chapter 2 of the Child Rights Act.
Rights to education.
Yes, right to education. It's there in their own law. So the fact that we have a religious body does not mean the child's rights should be eroded on the instance of the religious.
JUROR Evans, can we quickly ride on what Munich is saying? Because if you are talking to another religious association and you are telling them to shut down, shouldn't CAN be representing Christians in all of the states that schools have been shut down? Are there only Muslims
the case
in
is
those?
Asking that there are Muslims.
So are you going to have a separate teachers to teach the Christian students?
Even CAN is advocating for the educational right of Muslim students presently deprived, alongside Christian students and possibly Christian-owned schools in those states who completely
have no business.
From this,
they have no business with Ramadan at all. It's like saying that we are closing down all schools during Lent. You know, incidentally, Lent also started this Wednesday, right? Now say, oh, Christians are fasting. Our fast is even midnight to 6 p.m. the next day. It's not. It's
for 40 days.
For 40 days. It's not dusk to dawn to dusk. It is 18 hours, right? We'll now say, we are usually tired. We shut down all institutions in all Christian states. But we said that we are secular.
Okay. We'll leave you to further contemplate with that. It's still unfolding in the media. I will proceed now, so I'll move to another case. When we return, Juror Jumoke will be talking on the case titled Natasha'S Petition, Dead on Arrival. Stay with us, please.
And you're welcome back to the Middlemen of Jurors. My case, Natasha'S Petition, Dead on Arrival. The Senate Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions, as on Wednesday, 5th of March, 2025, dismissed the sexual harassment petition filed by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan against Senate President Godswill Akpabio. During a hearing at the National Assembly on Wednesday, the committee chairman, Senator Neda Imasuen, declared that the petition was dead on arrival, citing a breach of Order 40 of the Senate Standing Orders. According to Emasion, Akpoti-Uduaghan signed the petition herself instead of having it endorsed by another individual, rendering it procedurally invalid. As far as the petition is against the Senate President, who did not resign as president or step aside for the investigations, no one expects any committee to go against him. I mean, there were protesters, let's call them encouragers, for Akpabio at the Senate on Wednesday, who didn't even know what he did, but said on national TV that they supported him. Some of his encouragers even supported Senator Natasha. Obviously, they may have been paid encouragers, right? Just there to do the work they were paid to do without knowing what they were protesting for. There were protesters on Senator Natasha's side too. They argued that the Senate President ought to resign. Natasha Petition has sued the Senate president for defamation and accused him of sexual harassment on national TV, describing what had transpired between her and the Senate president in his home with her husband not too far away. Her husband escorted her to plenary on Wednesday, obviously in support of his wife. Akpabio's wife, former First Lady of Akwa Ibom State, Ekaite Akpabio, is also supporting her husband. She said Natasha's claims on TV on Friday, 21st of February 2025 were not true, that her husband is very disciplined and respects her. Natasha responded saying to Ekaite Akpabio to let her husband defend himself. A few other prominent women are defending Akpabio. Senator Itagiwa, who said female senators have passed sexual harassment. Senator Olujimi from Ekiti State, who said the Senate is for older people, not young ones. And even Senator Ireti Kinjibe, who is neither here nor there. However, female groups led by prominent politicians like Obi Ozekwesili, pastors Nike Adeyemi, and so on, are also asking that sexual harassment should not be covered nor downplayed. As of today, the Senate committee that ought to look into the matter has suspended Senator Natasha Petition for 6 months, denying her constituents of representation for the next 6 months. My verdict: let Senator Akpabio have his day in court. Luckily, he doesn't have immunity against prosecution. Let the courts decide whether Natasha does not have enough evidence to prove her allegations and if he has no case to answer. All other encouragers or protesters should allow us breathe. The Senate Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions should have told Natasha how to correct her petition and really investigated the matter. Maybe that would happen if Akpabio steps down and they're not trying to please him. They ought not to have also suspended her for 6 months. They should, because right now it looks like the victim is being further victimized.
Well, it's an ongoing case. I think it ended or has reached an anticlimax. That suspension, I don't know how to feel about it. I thought if you presented a case not well filed, I think barrister will help us on that. You go back and refile and
and then she came back on Thursday. She represented. Okay. So what they complained about, which was that she didn't have it endorsed by another individual. She now came back on Thursday, the 6th of March, and she now had it endorsed by her constituents from Kogi Central.
Yes, I'm aware of that. And she also came in the company of that darling husband of hers.
That she was kissing and what's the word? Was doing them.
Yes, I watched that, and I thought that was a very touching moment for especially those who are her sympathizers. But my comment on this is if we have barrister there, but if as cited by Senator Emaswe of the Senate Rules, Section 40, subsection 4, she is not to sign by herself. That's a procedural error. Does that nullify
the entire petition?
Presentation of a petition?
God bless you.
That's where I'm wondering. Otherwise, I'm on the side that so far, let transparency be followed. Sometimes it is issues like this that throw up precedents not contemplated at the cooking of rules. When they were written, all rules are tested, amended, and then rewritten again. Maybe we get some legal insight from barrister.
I'm not a lawyer, but I know that Senate rules that is supposed to help guide, their meetings cannot supersede law. Sexual harassment is a crime, right? She's suing him for defamation. Sexual harassment, I don't know if she joined that to her case. But now you're throwing out the entire petition because of just one rule of the Senate.
The ethics committee, have they sat yet before the suspension took place?
Well, so they sat on Wednesday, 5th of March, right? They said they invited her and she didn't show up. But the person who was supposed to preside over the meeting also didn't show up for a 2 p.m. meeting till 2:58. Hence, they immediately started contemplating suspending her from Wednesday. I don't know if they sat. By Thursday, when she came back with her reformed petition with her name on it and endorsed by her constituents, at the meeting, again, Senator Akpabio is the accused. He should not be presiding over a Senate where he has been accused. He shouldn't. I don't think it's ethical anywhere. At that meeting, while they were going to then read out their summations, she wanted to speak. They did not allow her.
Was she still wrongly seated?
Well, she was seated where they put her at the back still.
let's Barrister, your take.
Audio. We can't hear him.
What was the second?
Hold on.
He knows they are having audio problem. You saw they were trying to sort it without you and I.
Okay, we'll forget the talk, but Barrister go like put mouth for this one.
You don't.
Wait, oh, this suspension is hasty.
Yes, now.
No, this.
Are you hearing me?
Now we can hear. So how did the thing mute?
Yes. Speak again.
Yes, so they
Wait. Let me count you down now.
Senate.
Hold on, sir.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
The Senate approach to this, the ethics committee on this is very wrong. They are very dismissive, and I don't like their approach at all. Their approach is biased, very biased. You see, when you file a petition under 40 Rule 4 of the House Rule, it's supposed to be endorsed by a third party, not to be signed by. It's supposed to be signed by any other person other than the senator so agree. Okay, that's what the rule says. Okay, but now you have a procedural error. What you need to ask her to come and redirect the petition, not to say it is dead on arrival. The kernel of the issue have not been dealt with.
Very true.
That is why I talk about legislative illiteracy.
Ewo.
There's a huge deposit of illiteracy in our legislature. Look at Rivers State. The other day, they are giving the executive ultimatum to come and submit a budget. Budget is an executive bill. You don't give the executive any ultimatum to come and submit it to you. The same thing is happening at the ethics, the House of Ethics now. You see the legislative illiteracy.
Ewo.
Somebody, even in court, when you file a process, in the court, they will never allow you to leave. They will say, this thing is not well signed, take it back.
Let them sign it
Okay.
properly.
But for that opportunity, I understand because it's in the house, in the floor. You submit it in the floor. Nobody has seen the details.
Yeah.
So the moment it's referred to the ethics committee, the committee looks at it and say, no, there's a procedural error here.
Go
Make a
and
phone
write it
call
down.
to her. It is not even supposed to come to the public. Call her on phone. Now there's an error. Let her come and correct the error so that we can proceed with it. That's what you're supposed to do. You don't come on national TV and say that it's dead on arrival. What is dead?
God bless you, sir.
What is dead on arrival? Kernel of the issue have not been built, not sacrifice justice in the altar of technicalities. It's
Very
wrong
true. Very
to do
true.
so.
Very
So
true.
that case has to be determined.
Now that she has been suspended, is that legal?
To determine it,
Is it legal to
her
suspend the senator?
suspension is from sitting. She has not been suspended as a lawmaker. Nobody can suspend her as a lawmaker.
Okay.
But she can be suspended from plenary. She can be suspended from plenary. And committee, legislation and all their works. Yes, she can suspend her on that. But as to the fact that she's a senator, you cannot suspend her. It's only her constitution that can recall her.
Yeah.
Okay. They also give another reason that the matter has been filed in court. Therefore,
yes.
they have no jurisdiction to determine it in pari passu with the court in question. That is tenable. But Senator Natasha came out yesterday and said that she has not filed any case on this.
On sexual
That's on the
harassment.
issue. Whatsoever.
Yes.
Yes, she said she has not filed in
A
any
case
court
on
in the
sexual
land. So I don't know why
harassment.
the Senate. Yes, I don't know where the Senate got on where they are saying that except perhaps for the one for Akpabio who threatened that she was going to court. I don't know whether she filed a case
I
or
think she has
whatever.
filed that
But
case.
as we speak today, neither Akpabio nor Natasha had filed any case on the matter under reference.
Very true. So it's not sub judice to go and investigate her petition.
Okay. I don't know, but I think at this stage they may have irked more women to speak out. Look at the list you gave us, Eze Kwesili and the rest of
Nike
them.
Adeyemi,
King
of course.
and
And guess what? It is the International Women's Day this March, Saturday, March 8th,
Yeah.
right? Natasha, we support Natasha is our topic. Not because she has proven her case anywhere. Like she mentioned, she hasn't even taken the sexual harassment case to court. What she took to court was defamation, when she was talking about how she was unjustly unseated in the Senate. Senator Akpabio's aide made some defamatory statements, which is why she went to court,
She
right?
was moved out by...
So it's because she told the story of sexual harassment on national TV that Ekaite Akpabio came out and said, oh yeah, I'm going to sue you to court for also defaming my husband, blah, blah, blah. That she also now came to file the petition at the Senate. Because, I mean, in a class, if you say, Juror Innocent has beaten me, and you want to go and report to the president, Nigerian president, they'll say, have you told your class teacher? Have you told your principal? That there are stages. So she's filing the petition first on the floor of the House. Now, the issue is this. Even if she has exaggerated her case, for instance, because there's one other senator who said he was in Senator Akpabio's house when this meeting happened, that Senator Akpabio never held Senator Natasha, so he does not know where the case of sexual harassment is coming from. The way the case is now being treated, right? You are now giving her a case because it obviously looks like victimization. As the Senate Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions really sat in the 2 days. One day you said the petition is dead on arrival, and then that is sub judice. Then the next day you come and present that, oh, your summation is that she should be suspended from plenary for 6 months.
Okay, on the flip side, I would like to commend Dame Ekaite Akpabio for standing by her husband. It's something commendable at a time like this. But I would also say that for the sanctity and sanity of that hallowed chamber, perhaps they should work out a political solution. It's decent for all of us in Nigeria that this kind of case is not prolonged. The longer, the messier. Still, it's a political case. Let them look for...
You are commending her for standing by her husband.
Well,
the wife should have investigated to know that the husband...
Juror Rabbi, you know that even if your husband is wrong, publicly, it seems a moral thing to stand by him. But I would prefer that she had kept quiet. No. Because if they now investigate and your husband is found to be guilty, you will also lose your reputation by that marriage for standing by him. There are sometimes that silence is just golden, because this is not the first accusation against her husband of sexual misconduct. We remember NDDC MD Joy Nunue. She slapped the Akpabio. Remember when Akpabio was in the 8th Assembly led by Senator Bukola Saraki, he was also shouting like Natasha that he was removed and put in one seat. So what Natasha is shouting about, and she's saying, all of this harassment is because I refuse to sleep with you. It's not a case to be thrown under the rug. It's a case to be well investigated
with this
and established.
Is it that the case is now thrown away?
No, I think she ought to now go and file it in court. And Nigerian women were standing by Natasha until she's proven to be wrong. Please.
Okay, and Senator Godfrey Akpabio is also innocent until proven guilty.
Nigerian men can go and stand by
so many women are against her.
I've called their names now. Unfortunately, a senator is always a senator. Senator Itagiwa, well respected, mother. I mean, was saying that the Senate it has passed the. Was it in her own days that the Senate was ripe for sexual harassment?
Nobody can pass the level of sexual harassment.
God bless you.
As long as you are
I don't understand how.
Interesting twist. People had, in quote, called Senator Ereti Kingibe Senator Akpabio's victim before, she seemed to be rallying behind.
So she's now defending him. She's neither here nor there. She said that she doesn't know of sexual harassment in the house, and that she called Senator Natasha. She didn't pick up her call. She didn't return her call. That's neither here nor there. That she didn't pick up your call does not mean that
nothing has been established.
Yes, it does not mean that Natasha does not have a case. The onus of proof is on the accuser. Let Natasha prove her case. Don't victimize her. Don't ask her to shut up. Don't ask her to shut up.
Yes, Barrister.
Natasha is a victim of envy and jealousy. Largely so. She's the only vibrant woman in the house who is taking on different men.
Unfortunately,
and that is how a parliamentarian should be. A parliamentarian should be firebrand. You should be firebrand. You should know your onions. You should know that you represent the constituency. You should never be shortchanged, and that's exactly what she's doing. So I'm not saying anything wrong that she has done, because if I were to be in that house, I would do more worse things. I would do more things than what I think she's doing, because a lot of things are wrong.
If a dog bites a human, it's not news. If a human bites a dog, it becomes news. If Senator Akpabio was the one accusing Natasha of sexually harassing him, maybe it would have been, oh my goodness, that's impossible. But that a man is accused of harassing a woman. We have seen so many cases where a sexually harassed person, mostly in Nigeria, they don't even come out to talk. So when you see somebody come out to talk, we're not saying believe them without proof. We're just saying do not shut them up. Allow them their day in court. Allow them prove their case. Encourage them. Stand by them until you are sure that this one is lying. No. And then let the punitive measures for false accusations be meted to them. Simple.
Okay, so much you can take.
And that's all. Do well to like, comment, and engage across all social media handles at Enterprise TV 7. Also visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Thank you for joining this week. We see you next time. Bye for now.